Alrighty. Hello and welcome to the Kino Corner. We talk about the very best in movies, news, and trailers from a certain point of view. I am joined here with the Pterodactyl himself, Chakaron.
Howdy.
Jeez. We're going to talk about a few bits of news trailers and, of course, the Men in Black trilogy. Only the trilogy, just because it's a more cohesive story, helped narrow our focus a bit, and not Men in Black International and or really the show. There's like one thing I want to say about the show, but that's about it. But it's not going to go be a retrospective say. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. What say you?
I think we should just get this whole thing started.
Very well. Well, let's start off with some movie news here. Like I said, I think there's only a few pieces of movie news, and yes, BP, and Black International. Never heard of it. Most people choose to forget it exists. But yeah.
It was neat.
But, all right, and
It
all
was
right,
a movie of all time. There.
it was one of the movies of all time. All right, first bit of news. Like I said, I didn't want to fully report on this until there was actual confirmation, but it has been confirmed. Everyone's voted on it, and outside of like a shocking sports play upset at this point, which I don't, I don't know business well enough. I don't think that's going to happen. But basically, Paramount has acquired WB Studio. Warner Bros. Discovery is now under the Paramount umbrella. Oh yeah,
Well,
there there was
uh,
a lot of concerns about that, not the least of which being
geez.
Paramount's own financial troubles and their tendency to bankrupt everything they touch. But hey, that's they ignore the fact they had to take out a loan to pay off the shareholders. That's no, that's not important for the future. Um, uh,
Well, you know, considering some of the projects that WB had has, you know, in a sense ready, one of them which I know you're talking about today, maybe they have a banger there. Maybe this is a 1-2 move that no one's really expecting. And
so
maybe I'm talking out of my ass, out of just sheer desperation and hope.
okay,
Things could always get better, but they could always get worse. So we'll see how it goes, right?
so in the realm of film, I don't think this will have an immediate impact on anything coming out this year, or even possibly. I think the effects on things coming out next year will be minimal. But basically, if there is a movie currently in production, the say from Paramount would be very minimal, because it's the any decision WB would make, would the Paramount would do the same thing. Like for instance, I don't think it's under their I don't think it's under their umbrella, but the Dune 3. Like at this point the movie is going to come out. There's nothing any company could do. I'm just using it as an example. I need to remember exactly what Paramount is doing in the near future. But if a movie is already slated to come out, it's already been produced, it's already been there's nothing that can be changed. So we're not going to see any immediate change in the movie quality. No. What this is really going to affect in the short term is streaming services, uh, and what Paramount has access to. And the options were basically Netflix or Paramount buying out WB. And a lot of people had some concerns about Netflix, about like how they misuse it. I don't know. I'm just like both sides are gonna misuse it, so I'd rather it go to Netflix if I'm being perfectly honest. Actually, no, fuck both of them. I know it was a joke offer, but like a what? Fucking Tubi offered $5 for WB. That would have been.
Damn.
It was a joke offer, but like whatever. Because I think it was a. I think the ultimate deal was like a 550 million one-time payout plus a payment package. I think, which I think, if I'm understanding this right, is going to be payment over time, like owed to the shareholders, which means anyone working on like directors and actors, all that shit, they ain't gonna get shit. Uh,
Then that was Netflix's offer, or that was Paramount's?
no, this is the offer from Paramount that was accepted. Netflix didn't
Oh,
have as much money to give, like as from Paramount, but the I don't want to go into it in great detail because that is not what this podcast is about. But part of the reason this was a focal point and why there was a lot of big names going, do not take Paramount's offer, was, well, let's just say that there is a certain a certain news organization that leans one way now owns CNN. Let's just say that. Let's just leave it at that. And and people were saying there is a large political factor to this, and it is that's the big part of why. Let's be real. But
what a time to be alive, huh?
again, this again, I don't want to go into that and my feelings on that, but that's also why like you're like, oh, but you'll have to pay for all the things on Netflix, and okay, the 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 Netflix subscriptions, the price are gonna fucking go up anyway. At least now, if instead of paying $20 a month, I'm paying $25 a month, at least now I'll have access to everything from WB, like Scooby Doo and shit. Like, I don't know. Like that's just my thoughts on the matter. I don't like this. I think this is going to blow up in some way and be detrimental to one of these two companies. I just can't predict or fathom in what way. And I know that as far as movie going audiences are concerned, we won't see an immediate change that I can predict. There's just going to be a lot of small changes on like TV and streaming. That, but yeah, that's also why I refuse to get Paramount Plus.
then they, well, no, I'm not gonna get into it either.
No, no, again, like removing the other aspect of it, Paramount Plus is way too fucking expensive and laggy for anything. Apple TV is a fucking scam. I have an iPhone, and I'll admit Apple TV is a fucking scam. If I'm paying monthly prices, I don't need to pay to watch an additional fee to watch a movie. Like fuck that, fuck Apple TV. But the only streaming services that I've encountered that are at least somewhat honest are one is Tubi because they don't do payment services. Just like, hey, watch these shows, you're gonna get ads, and they pace them out pretty decently. And of course, Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus. Yeah, they're expensive, but it literally is just like, all right, yeah,
If it's not on one, it's on the other,
yeah,
and it in the end, it is they do have a very wide selection.
yeah. And honestly, like, if you're gonna get one streaming service, you don't have a lot of money, get Tubi. There is a lot of stuff on Tubi, a lot of stuff on Tubi. Like, and they have a rotating selection. So if you see like, oh, leaving soon on Tubi, give it a few months, it'll be back. They have a constantly rotating library that's just getting bigger and bigger. Like, Tubi's great, and I tolerate I think the only show on Paramount that I am vaguely interested in, but I could get it on DVD, so who cares, is Tulsa King.
Mm.
But yeah, that's neither here nor
I
there.
know that. Well, probably you could get the. Now, of course, this would require you having the equipment to use it, but you could you probably could get the DVD of the set, like of the series, or DVDs, how however they splice it. I know DVDs are still made.
They are.
If in a little bit of a less,
They
a bit
are.
less than they have been than they were before. But
Oh, absolutely. Especially, like, I don't know, and we talked about this last week, but in the other bit of recent news, well, not last week, but last episode 2 weeks ago, the one bit of news that I think might be also one thing that happens in the near-ish future, but Disney set a precedent. Always that's the precedent. But
like Disney, but okay.
they did a whole bunch of layoffs, and the two departments that received the most notable layoffs, one was the entire effects division for Marvel for the MCU got laid off,
I've heard about this.
and
Yeah.
they're going to do a hiring on. But again, we talked about detail. But the other one that I think is going to be more relevant to this is they basically did their home video division completely laid off, so DVD, Blu-ray, whatnot. They're trying to completely move to streaming,
Hmm.
which is a terrible move.
I hmm.
Yeah,
I have opinions on that, but hey, that's neither here nor there right now, is it? That's
yeah,
last episode. If you guys want
yeah,
to hear more about that, then uh
yeah. No,
please watch the previous episode
yeah.
or listen.
I was angry. I was angry. BP, you were there. You know, I was angry boy last time. But but no, that's all I really want to say about this. So the other news is a little more eh, eyebrow raisy, but nothing bad. But yeah, okay. So a little less. I've had some time to process this. We have the second bit of news related to Zorro in the within a 2 week span, and it's weird. Um, a crossover movie with Zorro and Django. And
Hmm.
yes, it's a movie. No, Quentin Tarantino will not be directing it because Quentin Tarantino basically does is the Django. But he gave his complete blessing to the person they got, and apparently this isn't out of nowhere. If you're watching, you see from the image I used, this is a pre-existing comic. So this is just there is a precedent for this story, whatever it is.
Well, I mean, it technically would make if we're just talking from a historical standpoint. Uh, let's see, like say Django gets man, there's a lot to unpack here.
Oh yeah,
this is this is gonna be a movie. That's for sure.
so yeah, a crossover with a Quentin Tarantino character in the American Wild West. And by the way, the other Zorro news is a series coming to Hulu, which is an American and French co-production about a Spanish character. I am now convinced you can't have a Zorro movie or show without involving at least two other countries or like in some way.
I mean, technically, at least from what I remember about the original, the Mask of Zorro series. uh did it or did it not take place in Mexico? You know,
I think so, but
right? It took place in Mexico, and then of course then of course there's the Antonio Banderas movie, which I'm pretty sure we all know and love, at least to some degree. If you don't, it's a good movie. Watch it. Excellent villain. Um, and then the second one, I don't know. I don't know about that. That one they kind of jumped the shark a little bit.
yeah,
But Vic, in a way, I could see it actually kind of working out, mixing Django and Zorro, because they're both the vigilante-esque characters.
Yeah,
Um,
they both fight corruption in a way.
they
They're
both fight corruption and crime. Django, of course, standing standing up more for the
one is a little more
is
racial than the
yeah,
other, and it's
one more
undeniable.
yeah, it's basically one against more racial crimes, and the other against more classist crimes. Um, but hey, I mean, they could.
Well, whenever you do crossovers, part like I don't mean to sound like a fucking memer when I say this, but like to some degree, you have to consider not just if the theming is similar, but if their scale, like how they fight and how powerful they are, and all that shit, is similar enough. And I know this is gonna sound weird. I think this is in the same vein as the Batman Ninja Turtles crossover. That just sounds ridiculous. But when you look at the worlds side by side, you realize they're very similar in very interesting and unexpected ways. Like you could say that
True.
Zorro and Django exist in the same universe and lose nothing from either.
Yeah, I'd even argue to say that's very easily in the same time period. You can't be. It's not like they would never have a possibility of meeting, but no, that there's definitely a possibility. Plus, if you're
Yeah.
looking at just like from a history standpoint, there's a history of slaves going across the border to escape slavery in the United States. There, yeah, that definitely that could do that as well. BP, pass, it could be a Zorro passing the mask kind of moment. But both characters are people who have through their own circumstances been trained in some type of martial way, um with Django being trained by the name of his character escapes me, but the bounty hunter in shooting, while Zorro has been trained in the sword and acrobatics and everything. It'd be neat to see how their characters interplay,
Yeah.
considering Django's a bit, well, wow. Now that I think about it, that is a neat. There's a lot of unique interplay because Zorro's the whole, of course, the dual identity, but then Django as well.
He owns who he
In
is.
the one movie, huh?
He
Say
owns
again?
who he is. Yeah.
He owns who he is, but also he is willing to take on another identity as well to achieve his needs, as we saw in Django Unchained when he pretended to be a black slaver to, you know, to save the woman he loves. So there's like both of them are willing to assume an identity to achieve their goals, in the idea of subterfuge, which Django does as well, even after the whole black slaver identity um gets you know revealed to be a falsehood. Then just falls back on the bounty hunter thing to trick his enemies. They're both use have a lot of use for subterfuge and the in interplay. So yeah, it's not like Django would just be they both have the ability to go you know hard in the paint, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
To go to draw blood if they need to. So yeah, this seems like a surprisingly good mix.
Yeah.
Now, of course, it depends on the writing. I would think
Well,
they would have to do it carefully.
okay, so this isn't based off of nothing. This is a comic that exists. So this is something that can be read. It's just I haven't read it yet. So it's like they're not pulling a
Mm,
story out of their ass.
true.
They're
Yeah.
literally just
So
adapting a pre-existing story, but using the versions of using Quentin Tarantino's version of Django and a more modern version of Zorro in the place for that story, is from what I'm understanding. So there's like going to be so take that like use that as your baseline there.
Yeah.
Yeah, like this, it could be a good time. It was unexpected to hear Zorro come up more than once in the past month, but hey, uh,
Hmm.
I think it's gonna happen. Next piece of news: I am actively against a sequel to I Am Legend.
So I have mixed feelings about this, to say the least. Uh,
Okay,
I
have you seen both endings?
I have. I know which one was was the main theatrical ending though. So I think if they go with the original ending, they're going to confuse a lot of people.
Yeah,
Though if that would be the only way to explain how Will Smith's character is still alive.
yeah.
And if they do go with that second ending, then that would actually, if they go with the original ending, the second ending, um, as for the lead up to this movie, I would be morbidly curious as to where they go with this. Like they could be taking this in a whole wild new direction, like to be much more of like a villain story kind of thing. Which going by the original movie or by the movie, it was uh, it was kind of a villain story. Like the story of, not to spoil it for anybody. Spoilers. I guess we can include that in chat, but uh it's like the story of a man who makes himself a monster to try to, you know, solve a problem that gradually, while still is a problem, just makes them more of a monster.
It's
And then
it's less about him becoming a monster, and the way I've heard it put is he's basically acting in the best interest of himself and what he perceives to be humanity. But if you go off of what I think is the true ending of the thing, it's less about becoming it and more about discovering that in this new world he is the boogeyman. He does things that he perceives as betterment for himself and potentially humanity to defeat these monsters. But when he starts to realize that they are now basically the humans of this world, it's more about discovering that he is the monster as opposed to becoming the monster.
well, it's yeah, because at that point he already is there, is that monster.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. But yeah, that's it. Like, if it's continuing from that vein, then I would be more, again, I would be more be curious. And yes, you're right, BP. Nobody asked for this. Unless maybe somehow this it like I know the so I don't know if you know, but you probably do, considering your knowledge of these things. But the I am Legend is from a book.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but if I remember correctly, the original story for I Am Legend is a short story in that book, and it's kind of wildly different than than the movie. Like but then I guess the real fly in the ointment here is if they go for the first, if they're going for that original theatrical release, like
It,
how are they going to explain his character surviving?
the big the big monkey wrench here is there is a confirmed second other character with Michael B. Jordan is doing something for if he's playing a human character, it's more likely they're doing the one where there is a human settlement, and that that's more likely. They still can go off of the true ending, but it would be even that would be like a and somehow these people exist. It would be so dumb. Like there's not. I don't know what they would do. It was honestly, if we're gonna do a sequel to a Will Smith movie out of nowhere, if anything, it should be Hancock. But that's great fucking movie. But yeah, I don't know. I really liked that ending to I Am Legend, and I have no I my expectations for this are super fucking low. I I'll watch the trailer when it comes out, but it's yeah, you're gonna have to convince me to see this. I yeah. If it was just Will Smith, and then they could have gone either way. But again, it's Michael B. Jordan. It's just put, and this is the worst part. These are not bad actors. I don't have a problem with the actors. I don't have a problem with Will Smith and this role. I don't have a problem with Michael B. Jordan. If you've seen Sinners, great fucking actor. But it's this specific story we don't need a sequel to.
Yeah. Like it's like seriously, it's soon like the fact that this is kind of news that I'm pretty sure if I told this to anyone, they would say why. you know,
Yeah,
that was the first thing I thought. I was when I found out about this why. Of course, the answer is for money, but hey, you know, still why?
you know.
Yeah.
But it's always just for money and rep, and I think after the success of just some of his more recent movies, Michael B. Jordan is just there. People are just starting to hire him left and right for everything because he's been in some Marvel stuff recently. He's been in the Creed movies. Like again he did Sinners, which was great. Then a few bits of voice acting work. But yeah, I think Michael B. Jordan is getting an uptick in his career, and this is just people just like trying to take I don't want to dog on Will Smith, but he's getting old, so I think this is more of a we want to tell this story again with the new hotness. As a that's the vibe I'm getting.
Is it confirmed that Will Smith's going to be acting movie? Like if it's
No, yeah, it's confirmed that they're both in the movie.
okay.
At this current time, it's confirmed. Anything is subject to change in the future, but at this current time, both Will Smith and Michael B. Jordan are in it. So, but that's yeah. Everything it's still way early in its production. Like guess from what I am understanding, it's in the process where things are being written and only a small number of cast members are being scouted. Like it is early in the production phase. But yeah, I think with that we'll go on to talk about some of our trailers here, which we got a few of. All right. Okay.
Oh boy.
First one, Resident Evil. Can't tell if it has anything to do with the games, but but there is a
Yeah,
residence.
I I can't. Yeah, I couldn't tell either.
Well,
I
there's
don't know. Like, I don't know if this is probably something more to talk about Kitty Man with the Kitty Man in greater depth once we find out more.
well,
Definitely.
like he's showed some opinions in the Discord about this, but from what I could tell, there is a residence and there is appear to be evil.
Oh boy.
I know this sounds weird. I feel like instead of a Resident Evil movie, I This is giving me the vibe more of an Evil Dead movie with less comedy.
Right? That's the exact thinking I was having while I was watching the trailer. That's exactly the thought I had.
Like
Oh my gosh. Because,
like OG Evil
oh my
Dead.
gosh.
Like
Yeah.
imagine if the Deadites basically took over the whole city and like there's less because this feels less in the vein of sci-fi and more in the vein of just straight horror. Like if this relates to any Resident Evil movie, my first thought is like maybe Village, but I haven't played the Resident Evil movies. I'm going off of tone I can gather in the trailers. That's it.
Like I thought for a split second, I thought, oh gosh, they're playing Village. Like they're making things but then with the city shots and then this like the sewer shots, just like is it like the first is it supposed to be like the first game? Or is this some random character who we're gonna run into run into Leon at some point or
I
something? Uh, what was just that there needs some more there needs to be some more details here.
so I can't remember where I heard who said it, but like at one point I've heard him basically say that the movies of Resident Evil are not canon to the games, but they exist within a parallel canon. They're basically right.
Huh.
So my best, and here's the thing, like a survival story of just a random schmuck in Raccoon City trying to survive the bullshit, I think would be cool. And if that's what this is, neat. But it's not the vibe I'm getting.
Yeah.
Because
So kind of like
this
what BP said then.
pretty much that's kind of what I was replying to that. It's like it's I don't know if this even is Raccoon City. Did they show that in the trailer and I missed it because I tried to watch each trailer.
I didn't see uh I did not see anywhere that said Raccoon City when I watched the trailer.
Yeah. And I was looking for
Um
like an obvious reference to Resident Evil outside of
Same.
like like even if it's just like a simple look like a zombie dog or a licker like something like that or even honestly even like an umbrella logo or just whatever military
Right?
force thing like something to show Resident Evil just to show that it existed but I never saw it and that's what threw me the most like and I feel if this really was a Resident Evil side story of just about a random schmo, like, oh, okay, it's just where the director imagines it takes place. Okay, so it's just
Uh-huh.
nondescript location. So
So
they're,
city A and country B,
yeah, so it's
district C.
got it. So this is his fan fiction, is what I'm hearing. This is the director's Resident Evil fan fiction. This city is like Raccoon City,
Hey,
but the zombies are bigger.
and they do a lot more body morphing and horror stuff.
Oh my god!
Wait, but you know what? You know what? He got the money for it, so good on him. Hopefully, it's good.
Hey, look, I'm not the biggest horror guy. If a horror movie looks interesting, I'll watch it. I'm vaguely interested in this as a concept. I'm just confused about its name and if it has a connection to the games. Because again, this doesn't look bad. It just leaves me kind of confused about the title. And
Yes.
and there's another parallel I confuse people. What I don't want is for this to be a Godzilla situation, like a '98 Godzilla situation where if this is a movie that has nothing to do
Uh,
with the okay, well, it's a if I don't want this for Resident Evil fans. I don't want this to be a an overall okay movie that is just perceived as worse because it has little to nothing to do with what it's named after. Yes, and I don't want that to be true because 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 10 years, like 10, 20 years later, after I rewatched the 98 Godzilla, I realized, all in all, this wasn't a bad movie. It's just the fact that it was called Godzilla, though. Like, again, and I don't want that negative reputation for. Let's see here. To log into the thing to, and then, but yeah, we'll cross that bridge a lot when we get there. Figure out, because everything.
and and as well, I hope it's not a Godzilla 98 situation, where there is an in-depth plan to make it like the thing it's based off of. Because like I know you've heard of this, how originally the idea for the Godzilla 98 movie is that there would be a trilogy, where it was slowly developed into the Godzilla we know, two more of the Godzilla we know of.
Oh yeah, no,
uh,
I am well aware.
I'm pretty sure you would be considering your love of that franchise. But at the same time, it never got to fruition because they put the name to the first movie, and it never really got off the ground. And finding out about that later was kind of like, oh man, actually would have been really cool. And that would really suck if that's the case for this movie as well, where they have an idea for like a series of movies based on the original product, of course, the original, uh, and they have an interesting story that doesn't get played out because they stuck the sticker on too early.
Yeah.
You know.
So I'm interested in this, and the other thing I think this might also get overshadowed is because we're in a good year for horror based off of trailers. Like, there's a lot of good horror movies down the woodwork. We recently had a lot of good ones. Again, I'm not a horror guy. I know how people are reacting. I only watch the horror movies that directly appeal to me. Like, I watched that recent Wolfman remake. Great movie. Holy crap. The Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein. Oh my god, so good. Um, I I do still want to see Lee Cronin's The Mummy, but there's other ones down the pipe I want to see. Yeah, horror fans, they be eating good. There's a movie coming out. I know Mortal Kombat's coming out next week. There is another horror movie coming out soon that is on my radar, and I am just drawing a blank. It is. I'm gonna look this up. Not no, not Hokum. It ain't Hokum. There's something coming out soon. I mean, okay. I am weirded out by Hokum. Is it Obsession? Is that the one I'm thinking of? No, it might be Obsession. It, Backrooms. That's what it is. The Backrooms.
Mm.
Yeah, and Backrooms comes out in a month. I I am interested in that. Like, Mortal Kombat 2 is gonna be one I want to see, but I do want to see the Backrooms because I'm basically saving my my movie passes for just a few down the line. At June and July, I'm gonna be all over the theater to tell you what. But yeah, like I just think that with all these other horror things that seem to be good, and this one seems to be weird, I'm worried that that might shape it in a certain way. To like if these movies that come out throughout the rest of the year are as good as they they appear to be, that if this one doesn't meet par, it's going to be perceived as worse than it is. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yes, definitely.
I don't know. And hey, this could be an honest to goodness Resident Evil movie, and then if people watch it, maybe he actually is like going through a building, and there's like these little subtle images of the Umbrella Corps or something, and he actually the final boss is he encounters freaking a giant. I haven't played Resident Evil games. I don't know what do they fight?
This
Giant.
there's the ones where you fight the giant guy, and then you run where you fight the giant guy who's not like building size giant, but like, you know, 10 feet, like 7, 8 feet tall kind of guy who's built like a brick shit house, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But who knows? And maybe this is the one. This is one of those movies where the protagonist doesn't survive the end.
Then that's
Who
all.
knows?
That's always possible. Like the true ending to or the perceived, or well, an ending, not the true ending, but an ending. Yeah, don't want to bring that up again. But no, we'll see what happens with this. The trailer looks decent, but I'm eh, cautious about this. Let's say that.
Yes,
Next trailer, I am not cautious about in any way. I want to see it so bad. Coyote versus Acme.
that it was one of the reasons why I was thinking. Oh no, beefy. No, we're not talking about that. You get that you get that evil out of here. That wackiness that's kind of standard.
So like smaller companies, I think are speed running the like public goodwill, and Ketchup Entertainment knows exactly what to do because after like Sony and them, they're basically like, nah, no one's gonna go see Coyote versus Acme. Ketchup Entertainment's like, we'll buy the rights, we'll release it, dumbasses, and thus they did.
And the trailer looks amazing. It looks awesome.
It looks funny. I don't know if you saw the most recent Looney Tunes movie, The Day the Earth Blew Up, but
I have
it is honestly
not,
it's
but
a funny movie. It's a very funny movie, and it, it makes me miss the kind of movies we had in the 90s where a movie didn't have to try to be part of this great world or try to tell this dramatic story, and it could just be an hour and a half Looney Tunes cartoon. That is all The Day the Earth Blew Up is. It's an hour and a half long Looney Tunes cartoon that makes me laugh. And you're not
hey, that's that's what I got from this trailer.
yeah.
Like, it looks funny as all get out, but it also looks like a pretty decent movie.
Yeah. Like, is there messaging in this one? I mean, corporations, but still, more they're prioritizing the funny, and I honestly
Yes.
think that that's just gonna serve the movie better.
Well, and also just from the trailer alone, I feel like going against the corporations is done very tongue in cheek. It's not preachy.
Oh yeah,
I mean, heck, at the end of the trailer, it's just like we're releasing this for financial reasons, not because it's an actual legitimate concern. Yeah.
so
Like, come on.
my question about it is how much are they gonna follow? Because if they do want to do some lore shit with it, because I saw that death battle, and I saw the confirmation of apparently Wile E. Coyote is responsible for well over half of Acme's profits.
I mean, hey, like that'd be the reason why they don't want him to win because they could he could sue them into the dirt.
Right.
Like, come on.
I,
Big.
and I love that. No, I also love that to some degree when you watch the trailer, they kind of have a point about it. It's like we're suing you for negligence and all that stuff, and they're like, it's not our fault. We gave him
He,
rocket skates and he blew himself up. What the fuck did we do? I love that in a fucked up way. It's kind of about they're trying to create this humorous both sides argument, even though they kind of went the other way with Foghorn Leghorn suddenly being evil, which I'm all for it, dude.
I mean, like I could say it, he was never real true. From what I remember from the cartoons, he was never truly always the good guy, as you would say. He's
No,
either
he
he's
just
all
wasn't
usually
the
the
bad
fool.
guy. That's the thing. He wasn't. He was never the
Yeah.
good guy. He just wasn't the bad guy. But he was always if he, all of his standalone cartoons. Every single one involves either him trying to get out of watching a kid or him trying not to be eaten. It's all self-serving shit.
Yes. Which means I could easily see him being a character like, don't screw this up. Because if you do, it's gonna hurt my damn wallet.
Yeah.
And son, I said, son, you don't want my wallet to be hurt.
I also love that they're doing the Looney Tunes back in action thing where they just have a world where tunes and
Yes.
people let's live together and that's just a thing. I want more movies to do this like they do with like Muppet movies, like Looney Tunes back in action. Where yeah, these characters in this world kind of exist. It's just a thing. You don't need to bring attention to it. You don't need to cause a deal like, oh, they're crossing over to the real world. Suspension of disbelief goes a long way. People are smarter than you give credit for. Like it's you there will if you show the trailer, it's like yeah no this is just how the world works. They're willing to just boom this is where our mind's at now and enjoy the movie for what it is. So
Yeah.
I'm really excited that for that. Like, but it is why I do have a fondness for like this and like the Muppets and similar. I, I at the end of the day, I'm excited for this. It's coming out in August. I don't. I'm gonna try to see it opening weekend, but I will be seeing this. It's I'm saying one of my movie passes. I'm specifically saving for this. Like I have an Excel spreadsheet where I basically mathed out how many movie passes I'm getting between now and December, and how many I'm going to use like for what movie. Like I'm gonna if I it, like I would by the time end of December rolls around, I'll have exactly two to see Dune 3 and Avengers Doomsday, which is yeah. But, any more thoughts before I move on to the next trailer set?
I'm looking forward to it. Like this looks like it's gonna be a good time. It
Hell
looks
yeah.
like it's gonna be a heck of a movie. Plus, well, hey, we'll get to see one of the more of the new trend of John Cena willing to be one of the bad guys.
Space Jam, I think, was the last movie that made Living with Tunes an odd ordeal. Yeah, 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 it was. But
But then again, I feel like that was one of the. Of course, there is the example of the Muppets or Sesame Street and everything, where the idea of these characters living with real life people. But I think Space Jam was also the first one they did it with tunes
yeah,
and people. Oh, except of course for Who Framed Roger Rabbit. But then that's like you know one of the I think that was the first one where they're
yeah.
like, okay, these people, these are two ridiculously incredible things together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Let's see here. Next movie on trailer on our docket here. Ah, here we go. Spider Noir. Can I just say, I freaking love Nicolas Cage.
He's a man of many talents, honestly. Like
So,
it's it's
uh,
gonna be a ride.
it's gonna be a ride, and I, know, I want to tell you now because you asked for this before we started. There's two trailers, color version and not. The only reason there's two is because this series will be released in black and white and in color. So if you wanted to watch it in its full noir style, you could do so, and if you wanted to watch it in color to get a more stylized Dick Tracy look, you can. I appreciate the hell out of that. I know it's super fucking easy. It doesn't cost the company anything because it basically just all right, turn the setting off. But it but still, it's something I appreciate. Um, I also like that people pointed out exactly what each character was or which Spider-Man villain they were meant to be. And this is just a different world, a different Spider-Man that's not Peter Parker.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised to see that his name wasn't such some form of Peter Parker's or something like that. Which that's I was well then again shows my ignorance. I was of the opinion that most universes were some form of Peter Parker.
Most are, but there are
Oh lordy!
like Peter Parker, like Parker Peter. I think there's one that actually is like Parker Peters or something. I don't fuck. But like I'm not as well versed in Spider-Man lore to confirm for sure. I but I think the general gimmick they try to go with is alliteration, like how there's Penny Parker, Miles Morales. Like there's like a weird little the first and last initial are the same. Like
Yeah,
I think that's usually what they try to do with the character, but more often than not, it's something similar to Peter Parker or having the last name Parker, like Penny Parker, the Japanese girl.
yeah.
Like I think I don't know how much exception there is to that rule. I just know the Spider Verse movies are goaded, and that's coming out next year, from what I understand. So we'll. But
This is
this
gonna
though,
be this is gonna be wild
I have to
and in a
wonder
good
if
way.
they wanted to finish this before they got Beyond the Spider Verse out. The other thing that there is a big rumor about it going around, and the fact is there is actually precedent for this. Is that this and the Spider Verse movies will in some way be canon with Tom Holland's Spider Man?
Mm.
The precedent for this is the crossover shenaniganry. How they both have referenced the the, both the Tobey Maguire and the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man movies directly, and then of course that, but also we know that they can go over to mediums that they are not generally a part of. If you've played the PS4, PS5 Spider-Man games, at the end of Spider-Man 2, after like, Peter Parker goes to an alley, there's like a little secret mission where Game Peter talks with some of the characters from Spider Verse, and they are animated like Spider Verse. It was trippy as hell. And then you get like a skin that moves like Miles Morales in the game. Like it's so that's why I was like, there is precedent here. So, and I have also said that the only way they're going to top Avengers Endgame and Doomsday and Secret War is basically a multiversal Avengers assemble of multiple styles. That is the only way. So,
Yeah,
and but after that, who knows? But uh, so there, I'm not saying this is a guarantee. I'm just saying there's a non-zero chance that this will have like an after credit scene when it's all said and done that shows that it's going into Beyond the Spider Verse. That this specific Spider Noir comes from a live action universe to show that there can be a live action precedent for the characters. And so and then at the end of Beyond the Spider Verse, imagine just like a cast reveal where we see like live action versions of all of those characters from like that Miles Morales, that Spider Gwen, like that old like you see what I'm saying?
yeah,
That's I think that is a possibility, but I don't want to think too hard about how it connects to everything because at the end of the day, I love the stylized look of this show. I love that Sandman. Like I love the. I mentioned earlier Dick Tracy and just all these old like where people have these fantastical powers, but they basically use it for like the same two things. Just yeah, I could turn my body to sand, and sand's really hard. I'm gonna punch him really hard. Yeah, see, like that's basically all he fucking does in the. It's kind of goofy in that way, but they also have like little bits of threatening stuff, and I
Or
don't know.
like I can't remember what the name of the character is, but the guy with the lightning powers
Oh
is
yeah,
like using it as like he has these lightning powers, but he's using like the environment to like to create a current
I
so he
think
can shock him and not not lightning flying from his hands,
I,
but just like sticking his finger in a in like a puddle between the two so he can shock him. You know,
yeah.
like
Yeah, I think he's just an intimidation
how
display and just like, yeah, you stand in that water, I'll show you what for. Yeah,
there's that. Oh, there's that or go on, touch me. I'll shock the daylights out of you. Like they're good. There's also like it's this is the powers seem like a lot less powerful, I guess you could say,
yeah.
which fits the theme, the universe.
Oh yeah, because this is more. This is Spider Noir. It is a noir story, not as much as a big actiony set piece, which there will be good choreography and action. It all of them will be when he's wearing the mask, and it won't be Nick Cage doing the choreography. But
Because
he,
he's an older man now.
yeah, he old. But this is a way to get Nicolas Cage in the MCU without him playing Ghost Rider. Like, let's be real. Because I know we all want Nicolas Cage Ghost Rider to be in the MCU to interact with these people, but let's be real, that's probably not going to happen.
No.
I think if they have Ghost Rider, I think they might just have him do a voice dub and just for like a scene where maybe just imagine that old school Ghost Rider just comes in with a motorcycle and just whips some doom bots or some shit. It would be just have a single voice line. That's all it would do. If they put a focus on any Ghost Rider, just because Marvel tends to be trying to focus on him a little more in recent years. It's that new Ghost Rider. I think it's Robbie Reyes or something.
Mhm.
And that's my money. But it, I don't know, but again, most of this is speculation. I don't know what to say specifically about this. I hope they do more stylized stuff like this. I don't. Did you ever watch? It was Werewolf by Night.
I have not.
It's on Disney Plus. It is one of the Marvel special presentations, and honestly, one of the best shorts they've done. I know everyone says the Mandarin one is one of the best. And I was like, no, Werewolf by Night is just a 30-minute love letter to every 50s B movie that ever existed, while simultaneously introducing the MCU to two, and I'm going to say two, I'm not going to say the second one was fantastic mainstay characters that could just kind of pop in at any point now. But I don't know. We'll ultimately see because when does Spider Noir release? Let's see here. Spider Noir release date. It's on MGM Plus on May 25th. So less than a month. Oh yeah, less than a month. So 3 weeks from tomorrow, as of recording this. Oh, it'll also be on Prime Video 2 days later. So that's where most people I think are going to end up watching it.
True, yeah.
Yeah. Well, all right. Yeah. I'm looking forward to this. Yeah, this last trailer on the dog to talk about is the one I'm personally most excited for, even more than Coyote versus Echo. When I get right down to it, Clayface.
Oh, this trailer was. Oh.
So there's a lot going into this trailer, but also some stuff that confirmed afterwards, because James Gunn basically confirmed a few things about this trailer. He confirmed that when people tried to ask him about this, knowing this will be taking direct inspiration from Batman the Animated Series, like those 2 episodes about Clayface's origin. But more importantly, he said, like, oh no, this isn't going to be a horror comedy. This isn't going to be a superhero horror. This is going to be a horror movie, period, that just takes place in the DC universe. Everything DC is secondary. This is a horror movie. And everyone's and this is everyone's looking at this one because this is going to kind of be the litmus test on if multiple tones can work. Like
Definitely.
early MCU did have an edge. Like if you really look back at early MCU, it is a franchise where something uh like Thor: Love and Thunder, Spider Man or not Spider Captain America: Winter Soldier, and even some of these other shows, they can all exist in the same universe with no, not batting an eye. A little bit of comedy here, a
Yeah.
lot of serious espionage there. They did a decent job at mixing tone a little bit.
Yeah.
This is a little more drastic. I liked the recent Superman. I liked Creature Commandos. Also, I'm not going to say what he looked like, but Clayface does appear in Creature Commandos, and this does happen beforehand. So we kind of have an idea of what happens years after this movie in the Ford aftermath. So, so we kind of. But to be fair, that's not really a spoiler because when the movie is called Clayface, everyone kind of knows the image they get when they picture Clayface. I, I, I what I'm really curious about in this movie, and I think it's also possible because of some of the imagery, is if they're going to focus on Clayface's character, but use it as a vehicle to introduce some key elements into the DC universe in the background, so they won't have to focus on it for their next projects, namely Batman and Joker.
Mm.
Well, because Clayface is a prominent Batman villain, but also all of the clown symbolism you see in the few of these shots.
Yes.
And I'm noting that because there is a Clay. I know they said they're directly going off of Batman the Animated Series, which Clayface was his own
Even
thing.
better.
Yeah, but and there was an animated series that came out after it called The Batman. And this is just my personal hot take. Even though, yes, the Batman Animated Series, the backstory for Clayface was better written and a better story. I like the Clayface backstory from the Batman better because it had more narrative weight, and I want them to pull at least a little bit from it because the the backstory from the Batman is Clayface used to be a GPD police officer, and one basically Joker in one of his escapades, he was doing stuff called Joker putty. He just experimental cosmetic stuff. He basically used it to make himself look like anything, and just and it basically just disguise. He only had a limited supply, but Batman stopped and basically ruined his entire stock. He ran out of the stuff, and
Yeah.
and because it's the Joker, he kind of didn't really know how to make more, and just like, not my cup of tea. But during the process of doing that, he had captured the police officer and basically used the Joker putty on him, Joker style. And in the process of things happening, the Joker putty kind of mixed with the Joker gas and, of course, the explosion. And it kind of did the Batman thing and bonded with him. And then just his whole body became something like clay. And eventually it started affecting his mind. Like his literal brain was melting and he started losing his identity.
Yeesh.
Like I said, like the narrative weight there. I don't know that to me that as great as the Batman animated series backstory is, and evidence in the trailer, that seems to be what they're going off of. I want them to pull a little bit from the Batman, namely just the Joker's direct involvement in this, and just maybe just how much it is affecting his psyche and those around him to start to lose himself. That's what I want to see from them. Right? Yeah, yeah, exactly. Maybe just combine it. Like use the skeleton from Batman the Animated Series. You got a great story there, and just take the elements that worked from the Batman and just sprinkle them in there. I
Oh yeah.
I want this to be just. I want this to be to Clayface what Joker was to Joker, because I really like that Joker movie. Because we live in a society. And then you could tell they're at least getting some action because like there's that shot in the alley where you see the shadow of him raising his hand and it forms to a mace. So they're not doing full human. Like no, he is made of clay and he will do the clay face thing. He is becoming a monster.
I
Mm,
mean, heck, the simple shot of he's laying in the tub and he wipes his face and his face is
just
slurp, just slurp down, just like oh, that,
yeah,
as BP said, that was that was a real toe curler right there.
yeah. It's coming out later this year. I am so excited for this October. So nice. So nice. I might watch it twice. No, I won't do that. But yeah, looking forward greatly to Clayface. It's going to be a good time, a good roller coaster of a time. I can't wait to be horrified and cry. All right, and that brings us to the second to last topic: new and recent films. This is obviously whenever we talk about anything we've seen recently that's new to us or something that's new to theaters. Second time in a row, I don't actually have anything. I've been trying to catch up with upcoming topics and whatnot for. So nothing really new, just kind of rewatching a few things myself. I do plan on seeing some new things for next time, but yeah, I don't have anything particularly new. What about you, Chakaron? Do you have anything new that you've seen recently you might want to give a little spotlight for and praise or talk about?
Mm, no, I got nothing either.
Awesome. Then this is going to be a
I'm
really
a bit.
short section.
If there's something new or recent, put it in the comment.
Oh, there's stuff coming out. There's
or
stuff in theaters. Actually, okay.
or the Discord, one or the other.
And okay, actually, there is one thing I haven't seen it yet, but if I am understanding the dates right, I think it comes out on the 14th to streaming, which would put it right before. There is an anime movie I've seen clips of that came out recently that I have heard all accounts seem to point to. Oh wow, it's actually not that bad. It's that animated movie Goat.
Huh.
Like again, all accounts seem to say like it's not a groundbreaking movie, but honestly, it's
Oh
pretty
wait,
good.
yeah, I have seen clips about Goat. Yeah, that one actually looks that one does actually look pretty decent.
Yeah, that's coming to streaming soon. So I honestly I'm probably gonna dedicate some time to actually watch that and just to see that. But of course, the other one is very soon. I'm gonna try to go see Mortal Kombat 2 because
Of course.
mm.
Dun, dun,
So
dun, dun,
next time
dun,
I'll
dun.
have more things to talk about. But that brings us to the big topic of the day. We are the Men in Black. We are the Men in Black.
Like we are.
I mean, I guess. But
I mean, my mind has been kind of foggy ever since you show me that weird camera out front.
you don't gotta worry about that. Like it's just like again at the end of the podcast, I'll show the people the camera too. We'll all see it again. It'll be great.
No, yeah, that sounds like a great idea. That sounds like a great idea. This is pretty great camera, guys. But anyway, leaving the camera alone. You had Men in Black. Great, great series.
Uh, so I want to talk about all of them in order because I rewatched them and I after rewatching them I reevaluated which one is for sure my favorite of the three. Like it's now not even close. Like it is like I have to rewatch them back to back, and but before I tell that, I guess to talk about the first one, this is a movie that I guess was just going through uncharted territory. Of course, came out in '97. I guess during the whole Alien kick, there's a few sci-fi movies that came out at the time, and this is just about like the secret organization meant to take care of these alien threats. Of course, had the powerhouse duo of Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones, which they were great together, by the way.
They do. They truly do. They're a great duo.
Like I know people have thoughts about Will Smith as a person and as an actor, but I talked about I Am Legend before, but if you want to see Will Smith at his actual best in terms of acting, watch these three movies and I Am Legend are like just him at his actual best, like, in my
Yes,
opinion.
definitely,
There's also one
definitely.
more movie that I do think if you want to see a more serious role, I cannot remember what it's called for the life of me. Just quick shout out. It's the one where he plays like a homeless man who like gets that job at the firm.
Oh,
Um,
In Pursuit of
in
Happiness, I
Pursuit of
think
Happiness. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The
that one. Oh, so damn good.
yeah, again.
Oh,
Quick shout out if you want to see Will Smith at his absolute best in acting. Just wanted to, but to bring it back to Men in Black, um, one thing when I rewatch it that I really appreciate about the first Men in Black movie specifically is how, and I know it's going to sound weird because when you think back to the movie, you do think of like the weird moments, you do think of like the big explosions and like big giant cockroach and how just weird Edgar was, but like all of the slow moments and just how cerebral and just generally smart this movie is.
yes.
Like the movie
Uh,
takes its time to explain everything, but it doesn't dumb anything down. Like they go through these weird big concepts, but it's also easy to follow along.
and at the same time, I love the whole tongue-in-cheek attitude a bit. That fits so well with the high cerebral stuff.
Yeah.
Uh, like say for instance the infamous slash famous scene where he earned his spot in the in the MIB. How he shoots the little girl instead of the aliens, and they were like, "Why did you shoot that girl?" And it's like, first off, this, and this, which are honestly really fucking good points, and
Oh yeah.
especially would be something you'd be looking like you'd be keeping an eye out as part of the MIB. That also sound absolutely, but still, like if you're not looking at it outside of the lens of like, okay, what are they looking for? This sounds absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
you know like why would you shoot a little girl for holding these books? But then again, these are the kind of things that these aliens would be looking into. you know
Hmm.
and plus with the ability to disguise themselves as humans in multiple very disturbing ways. There's you wouldn't be the alien you'd be looking for wouldn't be the problem. It's the one who's hiding from you. is the problem.
Yeah.
And just it's such a good, just that alone is such a good, it's an amazing amount of, tongue-in-cheek humor, but also like it shows how intelligent Jay is, um as well as it focuses on what the MIB would actually be looking for. That's one reason why um he passes,
Yeah.
besides of course the recommendation from K. But still, it's the movie goes on very well about the movie goes on very well like this, like as you said, it's very cerebral in the slow moments, but it also has that humor that takes the edge off just enough, but it's not, dumb, haha, he slipped and fell kind of humor. It's, oh my god, it's the, oh my gosh, dealing with that, how would I deal with that situation,
Like part of the humor is also just how cavalier and just how nonchalant
Oh
he's talking.
yes. How and how nonchalant K is.
Well, one of the lines he says in the movie, which also is continuously reinforced in the second two, is when he tries to bring Jay down to Earth. He basically says, "There's always an alien death ray. There's always someone trying to conquer Earth. There's always this. There's always this. We have to keep a cool head." Like that. Like it is a lesson he tried to directly impart on Jay throughout the entire movie, and then when he gets it, like he leaves. But
Yeah,
yeah, it's something that is just consistently true through these movies that like everything is just so big. And when rewatching it, just that first scene, it really encompasses the movie so well, just how a wonder and some in the galaxy. But it it's I really recommend, I can't recommend enough rewatching all three of them. And yes, all three. I know a lot of people don't look on the second one favorably, but upon rewatching the second one, it's not that bad. But before we get to that one, uh, another thing I also like about the first one, and of course in turn we've something we find that is continued later in the second one. God, I love this series adherence to continuity for the most part. But whenever Jay tries to deal with threats bigger than him, or just all these aliens that could just manhandle him, which happens a lot,
yeah,
he chooses wits over fists, and he often just tries
yes,
to make them just trip up and just tries to basically get them mad, get them focused, get them pissed off. It's something he does a lot. And
it's so good.
like think about when the
It's
bug
so
was like
good.
climbing to try to get to this basically like those spaceships in Seattle, and he was just like crushing the bugs. Oh, was that your cousin? Oh, this must be your auntie, and just keeps crushing cockroaches. Like, oh,
Oh
sucks.
yeah,
Like that tone is just something he will do. Uh,
he will put himself on the line to draw the ire of the alien, to trick them into being their own downfall. Especially if he cannot deal with them, and that is excellent character work, which fits very well into Will Smith's acting wheelhouse, being the kind of obnoxious character. Well, that's not all he does, of course, but like, and he definitely has much deeper and more emotional, intense moments. But we can't forget one of the first acting things was in the Fresh Prince of Bel Air, where he was
mhm.
kind of the brash, is the brash kind of character, and he plays it very well.
Mhm.
Uh, but again, it also lends to like the masterful work in the series, where time and time again, uh, the series isn't like, the aliens are invading, get your new experimental big guns or get their gun and go blast them all down. As Kay said, there's always an threat of an alien invasion. There's always a death threat. There's always some super thing from beyond, you know, coming for us. So keep cool and think. And the way it all compounds together on top of each other like that is just chef's kiss.
The big overlying tone that I think in the again this is gonna I think it works better when you rewatch all these back to back. It really compounds later movies. The big tone is just trying to show Jay how much he doesn't know, how big the stakes actually are.
Yeah.
Like it like there is just this level of unknown that is just existential in scale, and like there's so much to ponder about, so we can just take care of what we can and keep a cool head. But now I want to guess from there go to I guess the end of the first movie. Kay does leave because he said he was training a replacement.
Yeah.
Um, One thing I noticed, and I'm going to put a pin in this because I think I didn't fully appreciate this until the last movie, is both Jay and Kay go through character discovery, but throughout all three movies, like an interconnecting character discovery on all three movies. Um,
Yeah.
and it's not just this movie. He has to learn to play knight. No, there is a through line that is connected for all of them, and especially Kay. And it's really impressive when you realize that one of these came out in 97, the sequel came out 5 years later, and then the third one came out 10 years after that. Like
Yeah.
but in the second one it is seen as the people see that as the worst one. No, it's flawed, but I think its flaws are obvious. It's not bad. Uh, Before I go into detail, I think the biggest problem with Men in Black 2 is that sometimes it tries too hard to be funny and goofy, and
Yeah.
when it doesn't do that, it's really good. But like honestly, the fun to me one of the funniest jokes is just the unintentional dark humor. Like when they do neuralize the freaking couple that's kind of living in the mother's attic. And he realizes them, tells like, all right, take her to Cambodia, get a steak, and move out your mom's house. For God's sakes, you're in your 30s. For God's sakes, you're 40 years old or whatever the fuck. And then when they leave, he just turns to her. You want to go to Cambodia? Yeah. Then he just grabs the shovel. Hey, mom. Just like, oh,
Oh no.
yeah, right. Like I said,
Oh no.
the dark humor where they just kind of let the scene go and not try too hard to be silly, that works. But what a lot of people didn't like about the movie was just how gimmicky it was with aliens, and I guess I see it. But when I rewatched it, um, Jay's biggest character discovery in this one, and I do also want to bring this up because when I watched these movies younger, I didn't fully grasp the meaning of a lot of the scenes in the first two. I admit that, but I was also like 7 when the first one came out and 12 when the second. I had other things in my mind, like oh, I wonder if I can catch this Pokemon, but
Or dinosaurs.
yeah, dinosaurs. But upon rewatching them, Jay's biggest journey and why I think the ending of 2 is actually fantastic, even with the weird jokes from Zed and Frank, is is Jay has taken to heart the lesson from the first movie that everything is bigger than himself, and but he has taken it to a weird extreme where he kind of sees himself as this martyr, and he's just not allowed to have these relationships, and just it's so good of him
Yeah.
that he sacrifices himself for all this, and just the end of the movie. And that's why so much of the movie is focused on just his rogues gallery and all these people that have a vendetta against Jay and want Jay, and the villain is just like, get Jay, I don't care, I literally just care about this. Like the villain in the second one has the big picture in mind where all the array of the other villains don't. K has the big picture in mind, J does not.
but nothing else.
But they all think they do, and that's the problem. And when Jay brings K back and everything, he gets his memories back and all that stuff, he just goes about business as usual. And then add a little bit of a spoiler at the end of two, when a certain character has to leave and Jay does the whole like goodbye thing. The look on his face just says like, "Oh man, it's just another thing. I guess I just something I have to sacrifice. Man, I'm such a martyr." Like you could tell that's the kind of stuff going through his head, even though the person who's leaving is legitimately sad, and he says like it's not fair, and they're having this emotional moment before they leave. And then but the end of it, he basically just it's basically meant to tell Jay, dude, it's not about you. It's never about you. I need you to see firsthand how small you are. That's why like he moved the little dudes in his little locker. So like some people look up to him as a god, but then he basically opened a door that's never meant to be open and found out that there's basically he there in a locker too to much bigger beings than they are. Everything is about perspective. Get out of your own head. It's not about you.
Yeah.
Like, oh Jay, can you see? Yeah. Like that's the character journey I saw when I rewatched Men in Black 2. They're like, oh yeah, like again, it's better than I think that people remember it being, but it's not. Again, I still think it is worse than the first and the third one, but I don't know. I'd say worse than the first and the third one doesn't mean it's an awful movie.
Yeah.
I, if anything, I found I think again when the movie was there are times when the movie was trying too hard to be funny, or seeing Rip Torn do a wire stunt was fucking weird, dude.
Mhm.
Just I don't know if you remember that, just old ass Rip Torn, just like Zoltana, whatever the fuck her name was, and he just kind of jumps in the air, crouching tiger, hidden dragon style, and just Luke Kang roll kicks. Yeah, 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 yeah. Just, oh, it's so weird.
but but that weirdness is also part of the whole franchise,
Yes.
that that absurdly weird things that are taken in stride. Like it's all they of course we get the audience reaction somewhat, at least in the first movie with Jay. Um but I mean, but by the second and the third, we don't really get those reactions, or at least it doesn't feel like that much, because of course the character has seen more and has achieved that level of um like what the hell, like what the heck is this? Uh but now I've kind of lost track of. Yes, exactly, Griffin. Like the films are kind of freaking weird, but at the same time, that weirdness isn't misplaced. Like, do you understand what I mean?
I mean, Michael Jackson, an agent, he wants to be Agent M. I don't think
Oh
so.
my gosh. But still, uh like it fits in the whole tongue-in-cheek slash cerebral tone of the movie, is that weirdness. It all comes together into a very well. I did not know that, BP. I did not know
I mean, you
that he
would
begged for that
too.
role. I mean, I would, yeah, I was like, it's like, you mean I could be a freaking agent who deals with in, intergalactic customs? Yeah, sure. That sounds awesome.
Oh, like
Ugh.
I think when people think like when people reflect on Men in Black 2 when like what didn't work, I I do think it was the spotty humor. I think big parts of that. No shade on the guy because he's a good guy, and I do think in the right movie he's funny. Men in Black 2 did not need Johnny Knoxville.
Uh,
The more I think about it, the more you really could cut his character, or at least just have him as the cameo in the beginning,
yeah,
and and that's it. Like he didn't need any more role in the because the rest of his movie of him in the movie is basically just he's a background goon that everyone just says is stupid. That's literally it. It's just like is this relevant? Because yeah, no, there's actually he's not a part of any fight or anything. Like after he I'm pretty sure after the scene in the Men in Black office with him, that's like the last scene with him. And then it is apparently it's just like the worms just say he stopped by, but that's it. We don't see him again. It's weird. It's just like you really could just cut him from the movie.
yeah, I can see it.
But again, like, I mean, that just is a symptom of the larger problem. I think the movie had a lot of budget and a lot of ways to try to get these big actors. It tried too hard. It tried too hard to be
Yeah,
funny. It tried too hard to get all these things to work. And when it was just telling its own story and letting the characters be the characters, uh, then I think it works. Like another fun example is Jeeves from the first and second movie. When they go to get Kay's memory back, he goes through the deneuralizer, and at first it doesn't work, but he pleases them. It's just like no, it needs a minute, it needs a minute. But then when he walks away, the Jeeves does the whole pleading thing. I was like, listen, I hope this doesn't affect our friendship over the years. Like I really appreciate you. I love you, man. And then the other aliens break in they get Jay, and immediately Jay's like, "Oh, here he is," and then runs away. Like it's just like right, like legitimate character moments from in Men in Black 2 are actually funny. These little
oh yeah,
the deep talking moments just about like with just Jay and Kay in the car are really insightful. There's better yeah, it had its true moments. It's better than I think a lot of people want to remember it. But big grain of salt, I don't think Men in Black 2 is it is not a great movie. It's just it's an all right B movie. That's kind of how I would rate it. Like the first Men in Black, great movie. Men in Black 2, it's an all right B movie. Men in Black 3 though is my favorite of the three. Oh my god. When I rewatch Men in Black 3, I
whoa,
Josh Brolin does a great young Tommy Lee Jones.
yes,
Holy
he
shit.
does.
like he understood the assignment, but everything that went wrong with 2, they fixed for 3. We got to see the weird aliens, but everything was smart. And but now I mentioned before that all both J and K went through an overarching character arc across all 3 movies when you watch them back to back. Jay's
Yes.
character arc was just about understanding where he sits in the universe and just putting everything in perspective. He needed to see the small, he needed to see the big, and then 3 he needed to see the outside perspective of what happened with I won't go into spoilers, but just say what happened at the end. Once he had that, he was in the exact right mental state he needed to be in. And like that's the growth and journey he went in. Kay's journey was more subtle, but why I think 3 is considered perfect is it took what happened at the end of the first one during the second one, and even some throwaway lines from 2 that seemed to go nowhere, and put a lot of stuff in perspective for Kay. Kay also, in a way, saw himself as a martyr. Like he was the serious, dour, wizened elder who put a lot on his own shoulders, so the people he cared for, like O and J, didn't have to. and to the point where like he knew the threats that were coming, like the Boglodites and things with like the light of whatever, and he tried to remove himself from the equation. But that's the point of two. It's like he can try all he wants. He's a part of this. He has to be there. And and then when three kind of put everything into focus, he just the scene of him in the chair calling Jay, and then that last scene of them in the diner was you like a lot came through with Kay's acting of him just like the soft sigh, raised eyebrows of just him realizing I don't have to put everything on. There's a lot of good people around me.
Yeah.
Like that was like everything kind of comes to a head when you really watch all these three back to back. It fits so well, but it just with three by itself. Oh my gosh, I I didn't talk too much about the villains in the first two. I'm just gonna say like Edgar was fun, and I liked that the costume for Edgar. They had multiples that show that the body was actively decaying. I thought that was a great touch.
Oh yeah.
The villain in two, I was I think it was like Zoltana. I know it started with a Z. She was threatening. It's just in the grand scheme of things, eh.
Small pickings.
I don't know.
Like you
Just
had a galactic level threat in the first movie, and the second movie was, huh?
but with Boris the animal, yes, it was technically individually a smaller threat, but that was a villain. That was a guy who was an active threat in the grand and small scale. That like you remember like
Yeah.
like um uh,
The fact that he had, just, yeah, yeah, that was a big threat.
even like the little looks on his face, like when they broke out of prison, like he is a very calculating and angry being. Like when the person brought him a cake to break him out, made out with him in the prison, just and like he blasted a hole in the side of the moon base to evacuate everyone, and he grabbed the girl. Like you could when you rewatch it, you could tell everything going on in his mind. He's like, this person did save me. The cake was good. Do I need to save? Do I have any further? No, I don't. And then just let them go. Like you could pretty much tell all of that was really like he is a cold mofo. All of that was
Yes,
going through his brain during that moment.
yes, 100%.
Like he won't go out of his way to like not his people. He will consider his options. The problem is above everything else, it's about self preservation and whatever the Boglodites need. That is
Yeah.
priority one and two for him. And yeah, these people who helped him, sure, they gave him cake and helped get him out of prison. Thanks. Anyway, I'm off to kill your planet. That's basically right. Yeah, like heck with the, and also like he is so direct and simple. It's kind of absurd but threatening. Like when you see the scene of him arguing with himself and like they had to do the little roaring match, dick measuring contest,
Yeah.
whatever. And like, what's your plan? It's like get the arc, kill K. Good plan. It's not. It's not even a good plan. It's just two fucking steps. It was like good plan didn't work, and they just modify a single extra step where I go, I help you kill K. Like it's just he is not a
Hey,
detailed schemer, but he doesn't need to be, and that's what makes
yeah,
him
yeah, that's what makes him threatening because honestly, the plans that usually work the best are the simplest ones.
yeah. It's he he doesn't need to be a simple schemer because he doesn't need to be. He's got the oomph to back up his claims. Like I mean, his spines can basically take out MIB agents and just one shot to the head can kill, and he has an unlimited use of the whole fuck. He was a threatening villain that the series needed, without being an absurd escalation.
Yes.
Cough cough, Man in Black International, but And also the side characters are great. I know we got rid of Jeeves, we got rid of Frank, but they had little references. Like we had that new guy with Obadiah Price's kid. I know Obadiah Price. I know it's Obadiah something. Maybe it is Obadiah Price. But
You've always had a better head for names than me, man. So yeah.
the time traveler, basically his kid who runs the
Yeah.
electronics shop, and like I think he's just a more funny informant to Jay. I don't know. Like there was turnarounds for all these little fun characters, and you even have Agent O. And I still love the exchange when everything happens, and there's like that little time paradox, and Jay remembers everything, and he has these temporal headaches, and he's craving chocolate milk, and then when O sees him drinking, it's like, "How long have you been craving chocolatized dairy products?" It's like all day. It's like, "Are you experiencing this, this, and this?" It's like, "Yeah." It's like, "Okay, so either you've been bitten by the Horvatian brain tick, or then he slaps him. Damn it, it's not the tick. Damn it, it's not the tick." Like I like
It's so good.
but yeah, like these movies can be funny, and like it shows like where two went wrong. Like you don't have to try too hard to be funny. Let it play in the moment. Let like
Yeah.
let the characters do their thing. Oh, I but the other character that I think won a lot of people over is shares a name with our buddy here. The future seeing dude, Griffin. It's like, man, I love when like he touches people and they get to see his perspective. He's like there's like a constant window in front of him where he gets these alternate realities. Like, wow, this is how you see things. Yep, that seems really cool. It's a giant pain in the ass. I, oh, but then the uh, also, and I guess this might be a low bar for, but I love all of the potential like racist jokes and racist humor. They basically just like when he went back in time, they acknowledged you're probably going to experience it, and they did basically one whole joke about it, and then just all right, cool. It very much felt like all right, that's our quota. Let's get this out of the way. And because
Yeah.
they did well, it's more about like let's not just yet a quota for racist jokes, and more just like we really don't want to focus on this aspect. It's not important to the story we're going to tell, so let's get this stupid shit out of the way. I think just Jay like shaking his head at the camera is just an overall meta joke to just there. It's done. It just let's
like
focus
like
on the actual
like yeah,
story
it
here.
happened. Like it's not the focus of the film. Move on.
Yeah,
And then flashes. They didn't that, if I remember correctly, didn't he like when dealing with the cops, he
yeah.
just
That's
told
the
them some
scene I'm talking
bullshit,
about.
then flashed up, then flashed him with the memory thing, and then just drove off.
Yeah, yeah. That's the scene I'm talking about. Like where
Yeah,
they
it's just like yeah, it's like but then again with the damn neuralizer, it's like I mean, who cares? You could change their mind almost immediately, right?
yeah. Uh, I also like the end and like um I know this is gonna sound weird. I think Griffin at the end of Men in Black 3 did a better approach to the whole like specific future thing than Doctor Strange did in Endgame. Again, I'm not disparaging Endgame. I think in the moment it was funnier with Griffin because he basically spent his previous interactions showing that even the smallest interaction has bigger impacts than you think. That's why his little joke was like, "Oh, I love this future, unless this is the one where that guy bumps into that person, and they trip over this, and then or at the end it was like, oh, this is my favorite moment in human history. Oh, unless this is the one where Kay forgot to tip, and he looks up and there's a meteor pummeling towards Earth. Then K remembers to bring a dollar bill, and a satellite intercepts the meteor. Like it's just like, ooh, that was close. Like like he does it in a joking way, but they basically convey that he sees all these interbranching realities in such a specific way that for a miracle to happen, people have to say and do things in the right specific order to get specific reactions from people. And like that's why like he tells them, it's like, all right, for this to work, we have to tell the exact truth. And they tell the truth, and eventually leads to Griffin touching a certain character and showing that certain character images of something. We can infer what it was, knowing who he is. No spoilers. If because I don't want to spoil the end to Men in Black 3. I think it is one of the things that really brings things to a head. But like when after he shows it, like that is ultimately what grants them access to do what they need to do. Like it's one of those things, and you can like because of how he portrayed it, you can go back on all the small decisions and just kind of justify it without reaching. I don't know. It's just Men in Black 3 was funny. It was very well written. All of the characters portrayed everything well. Josh Brolin is a perfect younger Tommy Lee Jones. I the I don't want another Men in Black movie with these two. I think that Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones did a great trilogy together. And for how much shit I talked about Men in Black International, I do fully believe the best way forward for a franchise like Men in Black would be a reboot with a new set of
Yeah,
characters.
definitely.
If you were to bring back anybody, it would be Will Smith, but basically in the roles of like Zed or O.
Yeah,
And hell, make it come to a full head. Make him act like freaking Uncle Phil from make him be the more stoic, wizened dude that can still be wise as every once in a while, but is so used to everything. He's just kind of doing paperwork and observing everything. Like he has become the agent that has top clearance and understands everything that other people don't.
yeah,
Like, but even then, I would only really want a one off if that were the case of just a new people that he could see going through a similar story as him and Kay. Like imagine like focus on his other characters. He does a side role, but the movie ends with him at his desk look and he has that picture of Kay from Men in Black 2 in his pocket, and with his dad's stopwatch, and just like smiling at the good times while getting before getting back to work. Like that
yeah,
uh, that's how if I
definitely.
were
Yeah,
to continue this franchise, it's how I would. But it's difficult. Like these three movies form such a tight, well written trilogy. Despite like, let's say we talked about the Night of the Museum movies, how the intent obviously was a trilogy, and I don't think that was the intent for these. But I do think that unlike Night of the Museum, a full cohesive trilogy was better executed with Men in Black.
yeah. I didn't actually know that Men in Black was not intended to be a trilogy. Like they just fit so well together, you know?
That's something I. It's almost impossible for that to be the case because of how far apart they are. Remember, Men in Black was in '97,
Yeah,
Men in Black 2 was in 2002, and then Men in Black 3 was in 2012. Like for these three movies to be 15 years apart, I just don't see how the this isn't Harry Potter where like they had base source material to work off of and they started that long term project, which even then stuff was changed. But like it's just I don't think that was the case per se. It was it. I don't think planning trilogies really happened until like the late 2010s. I honestly like right after Men in Black 3 went out, people started to realize like, hey, we should have these tight trilogies. That's also when we got like DreamWorks trilogies, like we got the How to Train Your Dragon stuff, and Kung Fu Panda, and all that. So like I think this was one of the movies that was kind of a catalyst of sorts to go into that just desire for tight trilogies.
Yeah.
That's my guess. Uh, but ultimately, like my general thoughts, I do love the trilogy, and Men in Black 3 is my absolute favorite of the three. But looking back at the first two, I appreciate the first one. I do like all the individual lines. Like one I know I've quoted to a friend of mine when we were talking about just random people and other nonsense, and I re-quoted a line from the first Men in Black. It's like a person is smart, but people are dumb, scrambling morons, and you know it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like it is a
Oh
very
man,
quotable
the line
series.
again, just ah.
Yeah. Ooh, I said I'd briefly mention it. I guess I forgot to. I was talking about Men in Black 2. One of the weird things about Men in Black 2 is just that weird dissonance between in the time. Because in 5 years without K, a lot has happened between the two characters. And I feel like the way it was written was meant to kind of go off of the series and not the movie.
Hmm.
I can't confirm this, and again, I don't want to bring up the series too much because I would need to rewatch it. But it's just like
Same.
there's a lot of like weird tonal things, and there's just so much stuff has happened. Even Zed refers to Jay as like a best agent, and Jade clearly knows a lot of stuff about everything in MIB and things advanced to a weird degree. I don't know. It's hard to say, but just with the tonal difference, I have to wonder if the show was at least somewhat of an influence. And I also might have the time wrong. The show release date. Let me check something here. Oh yeah, no, yeah, the show was 97 to 2001. So right before. So maybe the show is like kind of a retcon where he never left. It's hard to say. I can't even speak to the quality of it because I'd have to rewatch it.
Yeah.
But you know, and then like international, I also want to say that because it's just so far removed from this trilogy. It's just it's very much its own thing in this universe. But thank you for joining me today, Chakaron.
No problem, man. It was a pleasure.
Yes, I think that brings us to the last bit of the day where we final where they tried to make Men in Black / 21 Jump Street. I did not know that, Griffin. I did not know that they were going to do a Men in Black 21 Jump Street crossover.
I'm so glad that did not happen.
Yeah.
Honestly, like that. That would have tanked my opinion of the series entirely. If I'm gonna be honest.
Well,
It's like, what the heck, man?
hmm. Well, and I guess of that, gonna switch over to the almighty wheel. Yes, the wheel.
Wheel spin.
Wheel of morality, turn, turn, turn. Also, what lessons we must learn. Yes, of course, we have a few topics on the wheel. The Life and Times of Benoit Blanc, which is the Knives Out trilogy of movies. Popcorn buckets are weird out of that. I still don't know what I'm going to do with this episode. It's just an excuse to talk about weird novelty popcorn buckets that have just become more of a prominent thing. And maybe a tier list, maybe just I don't know. Uh, see, The Mummy with Brendan Fraser, like that trilogy. Um, see, Sing a Song is of course it is the Sing 2 and that little short they did on Netflix. Is that just illumination movies that I like a lot. Growing Up in the Cul-de-Sac, retrospect on Ed, Ed and Eddie, and the Dark Knight trilogy is, of course, the Christopher Nolan Batman Begins, Dark Knight, and Batman Returns. And then, of course, replacing Men in Black, we Have a Seat with a Storyteller. This is about Jim Henson's The Storyteller, a 9-episode miniseries that came out just Jim Henson telling these storytellers and with creature effects and everything from the Jim Henson's workshop. I've mentioned it before. I want to have a more in-depth talk about it, and I have it on DVD. God, I love this show. Uh, and of course, the guest decides. And if it lands on there, our British Chakaron will choose anything from the list. He has, you mean the Dark Knight
Okay,
Rises?
good. Okay, good. I'm about to say, you want me to make up a topic?
No,
Okay.
no, no. It'll be from it. It'll be from the list. Like if you, it'll be from the list. But it's basically like it's like clicking the random button on a fighter select screen where you
Yeah,
choose. Yeah.
I get it.
Oh, without, but don't you call me a goober griffin because I'm going to spin this wheel. Ooh, we getting all sing-songy next time. Ooh,
Sing
sing a song.
song. Sing it loud.
Oh yeah, Fern, you're gonna do
That's
some
the
Darude
whole day
Sandstorm.
long. Yeah, we're singing Druid Sandstorm,
Yeah,
acapella version.
yeah, that's what that is. Do 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 do.
Do-do-do-do-do.
All right. Yeah, 2 weeks from today on Twitch, we talk about Sing 2, and that little short for there. The movies I have a soft spot for, but I'll talk about those next time with potentially other bits of news and any recent films as well down the docket. Cross that bridge when we get there. Once again, though, thank you for joining me, Chakaron.
Of course, always a pleasure.
Yes, and if anyone is watch for those on Twitch, congratulations, you are safe. But if you're watching this on YouTube, I'm gonna need you to look at this thing right here. I'm gonna press this button.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's the camera you
Yeah,
told me
yeah,
about.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's that camera. That's that camera.
brand new.
Yeah. I have my sunglasses on. Ignore that. So I need you to just just look right here in this camera. Click.